Sometimes the world doesn't collapse. Sometimes the human soul does. Rick Grimes is not a hero fighting zombies. He is a shadow, trying not to lose the last pieces of his humanity. Rick was not born in the apocalypse. He belonged to the old world. He believed in the law. He trusted the system. He was certain he could protect his family. But the coma was not just a medical event. It was the silent death of his former life. When he wakes up, the hospital is empty. Blood stains the walls. The city is silent. The world is no longer breathing. This is where Rick experiences his first true psychological fracture. He denies it. He freezes in shock. Reality feels distant. This is the beginning of trauma. But Rick doesn't break. He finds purpose, his family. Because when a human loses everything, they must hold on to something, or the mind collapses. Rick never wanted to become a leader. Leadership found him. People began to look at him, as if safety lived behind his eyes. Rick buried his fear deep inside himself. This is traumatic responsibility. He no longer belonged to himself. Every decision carried death. Every act of mercy threatened the future. Two voices began to live inside Rick. One was the old Rick, the man who believed in people. The other was the new Rick, silent, hardened, focused only on outcomes. These two selves slowly tore him apart. Then came Shane. Shane's death carved something permanent into Rick's soul. For the first time, Rick understood. Sometimes to survive, you must kill someone you love. That realization destroyed his moral world. There was no return after that. When Lori died, Rick collapsed completely. This was no longer grief. This was psychological disintegration. He heard voices. He spoke to the dead. He stared into nothing. Rick disconnected from reality. This is dissociation, the mind's final defense against unbearable pain. Rick stopped speaking. He only watched. He only walked. He only existed. His silence was a scream without sound. He could not forgive himself because he had lost both his wife and his conscience. Rick was no longer a leader. He was an empty shell. Time passed, and Rick changed. His voice became colder. His eyes became heavier, and he said, "We don't die." That wasn't just a sentence. It became his new belief system. Rick started thinking like this: mercy is weakness. Weakness is death. If you don't strike first, you won't survive. He stopped seeing enemies as human. This is dehumanization. They no longer had names. They no longer had faces. They were only threats. Rick became an anti-hero. He wasn't doing good. He was eliminating danger. The last piece of humanity inside Rick was Carl. Carl was his conscience. As long as Carl lived, Rick tried to remain human. But when Carl died, the final light went out. Carl once said, "They can still be good." Those words echoed inside Rick. Carl's death changed him again. Rick no longer wanted only to survive. He wanted to build a future. This is post-traumatic growth, meaning born from pain. Rick realized that if there is no future, then every death is meaningless. Rick Grimes is not just a TV character. He is a question. Can a human lose everything and still remain human? Rick teaches us that leadership wounds, survival transforms, mercy becomes a risk, and the most terrifying truth of all, the apocalypse is not zombies. The apocalypse lives inside the human soul.